Welcome back, friends. So today I'm going to be teaching you how to make your colored pencil drawings look like realistic paintings using a simple but very effective technique. We'll be drawing a red chili pepper to demonstrate this technique. If you are new here, my name is Kojo and welcome to my quick tutorial series. Let's get right into it. So as always, we start out with layering. If you want to know more about layering, I've got a couple of videos on that and I'll be linking a few in the description. But the basic idea is to start shading in your colors gradually from the lightest to the darkest, just like I did for the stalk of the chili pepper I'm drawing. I started out light and gradually moved to the darker greens. The next thing to do after layering is to blend. Now, there are several ways of blending, but for this demonstration or this technique, we'll be using a solvent. Whenever I blend with a solvent, I use either a brush or a Q-tip. Here I'm using the Q-tip to gently blend all the layers together. Now, we'll be talking more about this blending technique when I move on to the body of the chili pepper, so stay with me. If you are familiar with my process, you know I always put the details last. So after blending, I go over the blended areas again with the same color pencils I used before blending, just to redefine a few areas before moving on to the details. Now, when you blend with a solvent, there is the tendency to desaturate your colors a little bit. So going over the blended areas and layering again helps you to regain that vibrance. Here you can see I've moved on to the details, and as I said, that's the last step in the process. This requires paying close attention to the reference and picking out details in the same pattern as they appear on the reference. You don't have to be perfect with it, just make sure you follow the pattern on the reference. Now I've moved on to the main part, or the body of the chili pepper if you will. Now notice I'm using the same process of layering. The base layer here is pink. Now the base layer, in case you don't know, is the lightest color that appears throughout or is seen in most parts of the drawing, and I usually apply it in a flat manner throughout the drawing, like you can see me do here. I then continue layering progressively till I get to the darkest color, which in this case is red for the most part and dark brown in just a few areas. Don't forget to pay very close attention to your reference image throughout this process, as it serves as a guide to where you should be focusing certain shades of colors on. If you are not really sure what colors to use because you can't really isolate the colors correctly, be sure to check out my video on how to select the perfect colors for your colored pencil art. I'll put a link to that video in the description. Now, this is how I actually apply the solvent. I dip a brush or a Q-tip, in this case a Q-tip, into the solvent and then dab out some excess solvent using a tissue paper before applying it gently on the drawing. As a general rule, I usually apply the solvent on the lighter areas of the drawing before applying it to the darker areas in order to avoid smudging the colors together. Blending should follow the contours of the drawing while still maintaining some minor circular motions to avoid having obvious start and stop areas. Now, like I did with the stalk, I go back with the colored pencils to reinforce the blended areas so as to bring back some of that vibrance before drawing in the details. However, in this instance, I blended with the solvent again after the second session of layering before drawing in the details. This helps to create more depth and make the drawing look even more realistic. Now, the main reason this drawing will end up looking more like a painting is because of the blending technique used. The solvent breaks down the pigment of the colored pencils and helps cover the grain of the paper more effectively, giving it a paint-like look. Here, I'm doing the second round of blending just to give the drawing more depth and, like I said, make it appear more realistic. I'm on to the details now, and like I said initially, you need to pay close attention to your reference image when it comes to the details. Here I'm picking out a few highlights with the white colored pencil. Remember that throughout the drawing process, you can always go back and reshade any areas that you think requires more shading. It's all about perspective. I also created a subtle shadow in the curved region to create the illusion of more depth. I used the black, some grays and the white colored pencil for this. Subtle as it may appear, it actually does a lot for the drawing by way of making the drawing appear even more realistic, so take note of such areas when drawing. This is the final work and I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more tips and tutorials. Also, if you are new to colored pencil art, don't forget to download my free guide, The Basics of Realistic Colored Pencil Art, where I take you through all the basic techniques and materials you need on your colored pencil art journey. Again, it's free and the link will be in the description. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day.